Hey everyone, this is Bean Label TV. I'm Liam, and I am in the epicenter of Speciality coffee. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Matt, and this is my cafe, Under Pressure Espresso, in Southern Caulfield, little suburb of Birmingham. Yeah, hello.
Cool. Alright, so let's start with kind of your backstory and everything that led up to Under Pressure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm from this area originally, grew up around here, went to school around here, did the college thing, didn't know what I wanted to do, so in and out of college. And then met a girl who happened to be Canadian, and we planned to go to university out of Birmingham, but did some vacationing out in Canada. And while out there, spoke to universities and they said, yeah, you'll get no problem. So we applied to move over there and got accepted. But when we went over there, just needed to find a job. I just happened to apply to this little specialty coffee shop that was opening. This was back in 2007. And the guy was really keen on me. We just hit it off straight away. And he hired me on the spot. So we helped him open his cafe. He was still decorating at the time, so we got him there. And then he was going to be the flagship store for one of the best coffee roasters in Canada at the time, 49th Parallel. So they flew out all their trainers, a guy called Anthony Bender, Mike Young, Nick Brown, and the owner Vince Piccolo. They all came out and did some hardcore training with us and got us up to standard. And then we became their flagship store in Toronto, and they're from Vancouver. And yeah, from there just fell in love with coffee. And knew that it was something that I wanted to do, so I spent a year or so working in that company, and then moved to another company to gain some different experience, and then moved out to Calgary and worked at a company, Phil and Sebastian. I was a trainer there, ran a shop there, did some wholesale training for them. And then family-wise, we just wanted to be closer to my family. My wife's family was spread all across Canada. It was really hard to see them, so moved back to the UK. Saw what was happening in the Birmingham coffee scene, and I wanted to get my own place up and running, which we did within a few months. And here we are today, like just over 18 months on.
Nice one. So when you started out in specialty coffee, were you like a customer before then, or were you just looking for jobs?
Yeah, just looking for jobs, to be honest. I mean, if you go back as far as 2007, there wasn't really a specialty coffee scene. I mean, that's the sort of time where London was just starting to boom. Like a milk bar had opened there, Square Mile was just starting out roasting, and Workshop was just starting out roasting. This was like the start, and it seemed to happen everywhere at the same time. So Toronto had two coffee shops, Dark Horse and Mercury, and they were the only places doing specialty coffee. And they couldn't even get coffee from Canada, they had to source it from the States, from Intelligentsia.
Yeah.
So this new place was opening called Crema Coffee, and he wanted to use Canadian roaster, so 49th Parallel. So before that, there was no good coffee, and kind of grateful that I didn't really enjoy the coffee that I had from like the chains and things. It was never a thing that I enjoyed. Yeah. So going into a coffee shop and applying for a job, and he asked the questions like, so what coffee do you drink? And I was like, well, generally the coffee I've had has never been great. So he made me a coffee, and I was like, yeah, this is like outstanding.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the reason we hit it off, because I was quite honest about it. And then I just went just head first into the coffee scene as it expanded in Toronto. Just got to know the coffee shops there, and when I wasn't working, I was in a coffee shop, just chatting to the baristas there, seeing what they were doing, and just got to know the community there. But before that, I wasn't a customer at all.
And how was it? So, what's one of the things that's really interesting about this place when you first find out about it is where it is. It's not your typical. At this moment in time, it's usually in a big city that you find these kind of places. So, tell me about, tell us about why such culture.
Yeah, it just kind of came together, not accidentally, but somewhat as a last resort, to be honest. as you say, city centres are where it's happening, and for a reason. That's where everybody kind of goes. That's where things happen. Like all the best restaurants are there, all the best shopping places are there. It's a destination to go to eat, drink, and do things like that. So I did one opening in Birmingham city centre, but I really wanted to focus on having a coffee cart, like an espresso cart on the street. I'd already brought the machine and the grinder set up for that, but when I was talking to the council, they said that there's no permits available to do anything like that, which is, I couldn't really understand it.
Really?
Yeah, it was mind blowing because there was nobody.
Every other city that's
Yeah.
kind of happening, or big city, which Birmingham obviously is.
Yeah, so I kept putting forward my proposal. Like, I was like, I don't want to just have a food stand. I want to do a speciality little coffee stall, just set up somewhere. And I said, there's nobody else doing this. It could be be part of the good food scene here. And they were just adamant. It was like one word replies of no. I was like, so after I just left that for a few weeks. It wasn't too long. I started looking at brick and mortar. As I say, Birmingham city centre, but I didn't have a huge amount of time before I wanted to open, so the retail units that were available were either in the wrong place or too expensive, and started to look elsewhere. And, it was like Birmingham city centre is right in the middle, and then the suburbs spread out from outside of that, and a few of the suburbs have like good high streets, and like the other side of Birmingham, you got King's Heath, Moseley, Solihull, and they're really established. That's the side of town where the university is, but it's not my side of Birmingham, and I don't know it very well. So I started to look at North Birmingham, and it's a dead zone for anything independent, to be honest. So we came into Southern Coalfield, which is the closest part to where I live, and just walked around the shops and saw what was going on, and there was nothing like this at all. And the shop itself it's about 100 yards outside of the main parade.
Yeah.
Which for most people that's 100 yards too far. But I took a chance. To be honest, my family thought I was a bit crazy. They thought it wouldn't work at all. Because before I opened, you can't see, the place next door was a big empty unit. The place across the road from us was a quiet Turkish restaurant. But now next door's open is a big bustling restaurant.
Yeah.
Across the road is a craft beer brewery. I chose, it's almost like I came in at the right time. Got a small unit and it's all developing around me, which is great. I don't know if I have any impact on that, but
Drawing the people in.
yeah, you'd imagine maybe people come to view the locations and they have to see what's around there. It's like, is this an up and coming area? Yeah, there's a really nice little coffee shop. It's bustling and like generally quite busy, and the next door's open. There's got a really good crowd there. So then this craft brewery place was like, this is the perfect place for us to go. And yeah, it works quite well having that place across the road, because the customers are like nice beer. They prefer better coffee as well.
Yeah.
So
And then you just get something going, don't you? Really. All it takes is 2 or 3 places, like indie, cool, independent places, whatever they're doing, to be a draw.
yeah, for sure. I mean, this whole strip before I was here, this was an empty unit. Next door was empty. Across the road was quiet. And just further down the road is just charity stores. And then within 18 months, yeah, it's bustling all the way up the road, but the units are getting taken over.
Yeah.
So it's just redeveloping
And
rapidly.
cinema, how long's that been there?
That's one of the longest standing cinemas in Birmingham. That's been there since like the 50s, I'm sure. And that's gone through fads of being successful and then kind of get run down and got taken over recently by Empire, and they're building it back up again. They're drawing a lot of different crowds in, and they're doing good things. So.
It's nice to see, I know they're not an independent, but it's nice to see like an old-fashioned cinema still going, because there's so many of them closing down.
Yeah.
But it's,
They're still retained. There's only two screens in there, not even ultra high definition or anything. They're just regular film reels in there. No 3D. It's traditional style seating. It's pretty awesome. I used to go there as a kid, and it was like £1 to get in, and even now it's only like £3.95 or something to go and get. You go to the IMAX. It's
£3.95.
like £15 or something. So.
That is cheap. So you opened it was 26 now, so 2014 was that?
Yeah, July
2014.
July 2014.
And you didn't have, it was a bit different to what it is now. So what was it like then moving in, setting up a Speciality coffee place? How was it getting customers? How did you do it?
We didn't, to be honest. I haven't done a single piece of advertising since I've opened.
Yeah.
I just got the unit. I'm always stripping it out, just put a little poster in the window just to say there's a coffee shop opening. Had our website up and running already.
Yeah.
So anybody in the area that was interested could see our social media stuff and see our website and find out about us. So we had a few emails from locals that saying they're super excited that we were going to be opening soon. And they would pop their heads in every now and again. Just passing trade. People were nosy, go to see what we were doing. We had the door open. I had the machine that I had at the time was the Marzocco GS3, which is it's a pro consumer machine, so it just plugs into a regular 240 volt plug socket. It runs from a tank. So I had that set up at the front of the window, so anybody that popped in was like, yeah, make you a coffee. And they'd never had a coffee like that before. So then they'd tell their friends, and before I was even open, people were interested in what we were doing. So a 3-week turnover, we did all the work ourselves in here. Just stripped it down, painted it. My brother's the shop fitter, so he did all the bar for me. My brother-in-law did the electrics. My dad did the plumbing. My brother and sister did some painting in here. My cousin did the bricks. So yeah, within 3 weeks, from a shell to a fully functioning cafe, and having lots of experience, just getting the coffee side things set up was very straightforward.
You knew all of that stuff. So
yeah,
you didn't have to learn that.
Yeah, exactly. And we had a very vivid idea of what we were going to do. We haven't changed anything in 18 months. And everybody's kind of adapted to what we're doing, which is pretty awesome. So, yeah.
So what is that idea? How would you explain that to people? People ask what you do or what your place is about. What do you say?
I find a lot of cafes, not in a negative light, but they're quite pretentious. It's this is this drink, this is what it is. And if you wanted, maybe you've been to the chains or whatever and they do them differently, but then you go into an independent, no, that's not what a flat white is, this is a flat white. It can be quite off-putting. So you just want to be really welcoming. Our menu's different to most places. I mean, the menu just says espresso, black, white, or brewed coffee. So that's kind of the icebreaker. People come in for the first time, they look at the menu and they're a bit confused, but that gives me the chance to be like, hey, what do you usually drink? And I can make you whatever you want. But here's some information on what you actually drink. If somebody comes in and is like, oh, I usually get a latte, and I was like, oh, do you know what a latte is? And they can't actually explain what it is when it's just simply an espresso with nicely textured milk with a microfoam on top. So when they actually acknowledge, they're like, oh, so it's an espresso based drink. Yeah. And then kind of go from there. So it's been really good to see people responding to that. There's still a lot of people just come in and they order whatever they want. They'll order a latte, a cappuccino, a macchiato, or whatever. And that's fine. We'll do whatever they want. We'll do, and we just concentrate on doing it to the best of our ability. There's not a best drink. A flat white's not the best drink. It's a drink that you want. But yeah, so we focus on always sourcing the best coffee that we can, and it rotates seasonally. So at the moment everything we have is Colombian. Next week we've got some Ethiopians coming in, and we only have one coffee as the option. Which the idea behind that is, if you give people the option, they usually go for the safe option, and that's been tested. During the opening period, I gave people the option, and 99% of the time they would all be like, oh yeah, we'll go for the nutty, simple sounding coffee, because that's what coffee is in their mind.
Yeah.
So there's always one espresso one, and there's always one filter coffee on at a time. Sometimes it is a nice, simple, approachable coffee, and sometimes it's a really floral Ethiopian or something. But they try it, and because we're doing a pretty good job of making it, they generally really like it. Or maybe they're building their palates over time, and they kind of like, actually, I don't really like that style of coffee, and then maybe they'll have an Americano instead of a brewed coffee or whatever. But I think if they have the choice all the time, then they're not trying everything. So that was kind of the idea. Simple menu that seems confusing at first, but is actually very straightforward. And then offerings wise, we change it, do a great job, and the information's all on the board just behind us about what's been brewed at any given time, so anybody's able to see what they're having. But not everybody really pays attention, and it's not always like you give them a coffee and they know it's something new. Sometimes you can go a few months and then one day they're like, oh, is this a new coffee? Like, actually, since you last asked that, you've probably had 6 or 7 different coffees. And like, I say that's a testament to what we're doing.
And do you check, are they, like between each coffee, is each coffee very different from the last? So like Ethiopian to Colombian, or vice versa, is going to be pretty different, right?
Yeah, it can be, and it's more how, I think it's more how you drink it that defies how different it can be. Like drinking a filter coffee black like that, you're going to taste any small nuance differences immediately.
Yeah.
But if you have a milkier drink, then they're usually much more subtle. Maybe the Ethiopian gets a bit of floral fruitiness that comes through, but it still finishes off as like a multi cereal now. Yeah. And the Colombian will be quite similar because the lactose is just really milding down the acidity, so it's a much more mellow drink. So I guess the people that drink milkier coffees don't notice as much until it's a very different coffee. But the people that drink the coffee black, espressos, or a brewed coffee, they generally notice. And
cool. So, what's your favourite coffee? What's your favourite? You got a favourite kind of origin, producer, or roaster, kind of thing?
I think at the beginning I did, and then now I've just come to appreciate everything for what it is.
Yeah.
Like the coffee that we're drinking right now is from Damatio in Sweden, and as I say, everything in the store right now is Colombian, and I haven't had a great Colombian coffee for a few years. So if you asked me this question a month ago, I would not have said a Colombian. But right now, the Colombians are outstanding because they're sourcing great ones, they're roasting great ones, and the product it speaks for itself. To stereotype what I like most, like a Rwandan espresso fills my needs. Usually they're quite syrupy fruitcake notes with spice. A nice heavy espresso and with milk that cuts through really nicely. But on a filter coffee, probably like Kenyan coffees kind of fill the need because I like something with a big body, with really nice acidity, and Kenyan coffees are usually everything in one. Such a big, complex like flavour bomb. Like an Ethiopian's usually more in the acidity, a Colombian's usually more in the body, whereas like a nice rounded coffee's harder to come by, and Kenyans usually do that. But I like most coffee that's sourced well, roasted well, brewed well.
Cool. And are there particular roasters that you serve here?
Yeah, we worked a lot with Workshop from when we opened up until quite recently, and we're still using it. Right now we're using Damatio, and we've worked with Foundry from Sheffield. We had some of their coffees on. We've had coffee from Five Elephants in Berlin, coffee from Detour in Hamilton in Canada. I think it's not that you get bored of coffee, but if a certain roaster has the same options for quite a while and you want to try something different, then you have to look elsewhere sometimes.
Yeah.
Or maybe you try a coffee from a roaster and it just blows your mind and you're like, wow, like I haven't had anything this good for a long time. So you continue to purchase from those guys for a while. But yeah, we're not a multi-roaster, as in we don't continually switch who we're using. Like Workshop are our base supplier, and right now Damatio have a pretty good stronghold because they're doing outstanding stuff. And every now and again, for a week or so, we'll bring in another roaster just to change it up.
Yeah. How do you pick which coffee you're going to have? How do you pick what you're going to have next week? Besides the obvious, what's in season, because obviously, Colombia might be in season, but there's plenty of different options there. So, what do you do?
I'm pretty anal about quality, so sometimes we just buy coffee from a roaster retail. I'm not saying we're a coffee shop or anything, we try their coffee without the need to say, hey, we're this coffee shop, we want to try your coffee, so we're buying it wholesale. We just buy a bag of coffee, we try it, and if we like it, then we'll look at buying from the roaster. But it sounds obvious, but we want to be the best, and the only way you can do that is by sourcing some of the best coffees around. Mm-hmm. So the coffee shops that we're working with, Workshop, Damatio, Five Elephants, they're like some of the best in the world. We generally have to pay a premium, like we're paying more money to bring the coffee in. We're not charging much more than other places, but we just want to be serving the best coffees. So if I taste a coffee and it might be nice, but it's not to my standard, or then we won't use it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which it's not a shame, and it's a hard thing to explain to some customers.
Yeah.
Because everybody's entitled to their opinion, and everybody's happy to love every coffee that they taste. But from my experience and tasting coffees from the best places in the world and working with some of the best people in the world, mm-hmm. there's a certain level where coffee is just transcends to another level, and there are only a handful of roasters in the world that are at that level and they're the only people that I really work with. So I look at
those roasters that you work with. Those.
Yeah. So I look at their offerings and see, and usually they're doing things differently. They're a bit of a bigger company. They have more strongholds of working directly with certain farmers. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at the hierarchy of how most coffee roasters source their coffee, it's through green bean merchants or whatever.
Yeah.
So their offerings are based upon what the merchants have for sale. So you'll look at, say, 5 different roasters, and you'll see that they all have quite similar coffee. Maybe they all have the same Tanzania coffee, the same Ethiopian coffees, and they're just doing their own roasting version of it.
Yeah.
But then you look at the next tier of roasters, and they have unique coffees because they're directly going to origin, working with different cooperatives, different farmers, and usually the quality is another level.
They get the best stuff.
Yeah. It's unfortunate for some roasters because they don't have the resources to do that. They don't have the time or the money to go traveling to origin and find coffees and things like that. But the people that do that and they do it well, then it's you can't.
So you're going to go with if you want the best, you want to serve the best, then
yeah. And then the other side of working with the best is a feedback loop. Like if I get a coffee in, I'll taste it and I'll tell them what I think of it.
Yeah.
If I think it's not as best as it can be, I'll tell them that. So some people don't accept criticism too well, which is fair enough, because sometimes maybe they've sent that coffee to maybe 10 cafes, and maybe I'm the only cafe that's actually gave them feedback. That's not negative, but I want them to be doing better. So I say, okay, this coffee's great, I think maybe you could have developed it a little bit more, maybe better. Whereas they say, oh, you're the only person that said anything. Whereas most of the time, roasters that want to be the best, they're receptive and they're like, okay, yeah, I've tasted that sample, I see what you mean. We've checked the logs and things, and maybe the development time was a bit shorter. But not everybody can have the palate that I have.
You've been working in it for a long time.
Yeah, I've been doing it and working with cafes and at that level, and working directly with roasters at that level for a number of years. So I've kind of built it up to, sometimes they're the ones that give you feedback. It's like, oh, that batch, this happened to it. What do you think of it? And then, you can only build.
They ask some of the roasters ask you that kind of?
Yeah, of course. Which is great because they trust what I'm saying. But it's just one of those things that you build your palate over time. Like you could love this coffee, and you could say it's the best coffee you've ever had, but
Haven't had that many.
If in like a week's time or something you had another coffee here and it was really great as well, but then I said, do you remember the coffee that you had last week? Can you tell me anything about it? How does this compare to that? Like a week apart, it's really hard.
You need them.
You need them side by side.
Yeah.
So having samples and tasting coffees next to each other, and that's really when you start to build a palate and like a repertoire for tasting defects and understanding what underdeveloped coffee is, even by the smallest margin of baked coffee. And then whether it's just the green bean, if it's stored wrong, if it was shipped and the humidity's gone a bit astray, or where trying to figure out this tastes like this, but where in the chain is that? Sometimes it's the green bean, and that's where sometimes if you go to roasters where lots of them are using the same one, the same flavour occurs in all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what I love about this place is that obviously Big Label is a young kind of new thing, but there can't be many places like this around the UK, not in a city with someone like you working. I mean, this is like I don't know if hidden gem is the right word, but it is to some extent, because you just don't get not yet, you don't get places like this, I don't think.
I think
because there's not going to be many people like you that have got the experience you've got the palate you've got, and then are bringing it back to, not to London or Manchester or anything like that, bring it back to Sutton Coldfield.
I love doing what I do, and I've set up a business. It's almost the number one rule when you set up a business is to not create a job for yourself, but it's 100% why I wanted to set my own business. I wanted to build a business around what I wanted to do. Like, I knew this is what I wanted to do for a living, obviously.
When you say this,
running a cafe. Running. It's
be a
all in.
barista serving what you want, how you want it. What was the exact draw?
Okay. The draw of having a coffee shop that's kind of cross between hospitality, customer service and knowledge, and blending them all together. It's a simple thing of we want to be nice people, we want to be serving nice coffee, and we want people to have a good time. And that's my goal. So we're nice people, have really nice friendly staff, and the customers that come in here, they just get really relaxed, chilled out, and they have a really good time. And then the coffee side of it, that's the knowledge that we have, and we don't force it on people. We don't say this is what you're drinking unless you see the trigger where they want to know that. So it's hard to find. It would be hard for me to go now to another coffee shop and just look for a job, and without them looking at your experience and be like, oh, you should be doing this, or you should like running, or I can do the whole thing my way. And we've built it. As I say, we never did any advertising, and we just let it naturally grow. And the growth is word of mouth. Everybody that comes in here has come in here because somebody's told them it's great. So they come in with somewhat an expectation, but that's a good thing, as opposed to them just walking in off the street, which happens as well. So they're having that expectation, and when we meet it, it's great. They'll leave and they'll say thank you, that was great. The satisfaction from that is
that's what you're here for.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it just locals, or are you starting to get people coming from a bit further?
As you found out trying to find this place.
That's true. Yeah.
Sort of cool. It's a bit of an isolated part of Birmingham.
Yeah.
Most people don't just come to Sutton Coldfield for a reason. They come here because they live within whatever radius of here, or they work in the town. But we definitely have people that come here for the coffee, especially on the weekends. They travel. You know, I've had people come from all over the world that, you know, they've been in Birmingham, they wanted the best coffee or whatever, and they've come here as one of the cafes to go to. And yeah, for them to make the journey from Birmingham city centre just to come to Southern Coalfield, just to come here, that's really nice.
It's quite a statement.
Yeah, but generally it's mainly locals. And like, one of the nicest things is this side of Birmingham doesn't have any universities or anything. So the people that live around here are like permanent residents. They're not like people coming and going.
Yeah.
And most of them, they're older.
Yeah.
We don't get many like young 20-year-olds or whatever. Most of our customers, I'd say, are over 40.
Yeah.
And they just want to enjoy the finer things. They're not doing it because it's trendy. They're doing it because it's nice. And that's...
It's not pretentious at all, it's just like nice coffee.
Yeah, exactly. They could go
It's not
anywhere.
an image or anything.
Yeah, they have all the time in the world to go anywhere they want to get a coffee, and when they come here they do it because it's relaxed and the coffee's good and they love it. So.
Cool, nice. What are the plans for the future? Have you got any, or you just see what happens?
Let's see what happens right now. It's the whole complaint that we get is that we're not big enough.
Right.
And there's nothing I can do about that. You know, this is the unit that I have. It's a fixed lease.
Yeah.
And I can't expand beyond the brick walls that define the shop.
Yeah.
So I guess once the lease is up, possibly look to go to a bigger unit.
Stand in the area?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Which is probably the biggest issue, is that there's not that many units around here. As you'll see, say like the town is 100 yards in that direction.
Yeah.
That's out of my price range. I'm never going to go into the area. The rates, and it's just too much for what the units are.
Yeah.
So going that way, you're getting further away from the parade, which is a negative for most people because they come to Sutton to go to the parade.
Yeah.
But the units that are available are cheaper, and there are a couple of bigger units. But it's the risk of, do I lose the people that only come here because they work upstairs or next door? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to be here for a while, and then maybe closer to the end start asking people like, what would you still support us if we were like another 50 yards in that direction, or if we were in another part of Sutton or something?
Yeah.
I don't want to throw away everything that we've built and start again. I want to develop, but I don't want to develop into multiple locations. And this is what I love doing. I run this business, and let's say I've created a job for myself, and I don't want it to become anything other than that, especially for the foreseeable future.
Cool. Okay. Alright, well, thanks a lot for your time, mate. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and getting to know you and Under Pressure, and like I say, it's just really nice to see this kind of place outside the cities, and hopefully more people start making a detour just to try your coffee.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we don't want to be too busy. It's a crazy thing for a business person to say, but the hospitality side, like, we love just chatting to the customers.
So I just want like a few people, it's 10% of the audience, which at the minute is not a lot actually. So actually at the minute 100% of the audience, but you know, but in the future, we just like
we obviously want the business to survive and
cool. Okay, nice one. Nice to meet you. Take it easy. See you next time.